The 1980s marked a transitional period for American automakers. In an effort to meet rising fuel efficiency standards and compete with foreign imports, manufacturers often cut corners on performance, reliability, and design. This decade birthed many coupes that failed to capture the spirit of driving excitement, leaving behind a legacy of disappointment. Below, we explore 10 of the worst American coupes from this era, highlighting their flaws and why they fell short of expectations.
Dear viewer, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for your support.
Number 10. 1981. Chevrolet Citation X11 Coupe. Built on GM's ambitious X-body platform, the Citation X11 was intended to be a sporty and practical compact car. Instead, it became notorious for its numerous flaws, tarnishing GM's reputation and leaving buyers disillusioned. In the late 1970s, General Motors faced increasing competition from Japanese automakers who were dominating the compact car market. To combat this, GM developed the X-body platform, which would underpin a new generation of front-wheel drive compact cars. The Citation debuted in 1980 as GM's first mass-market front-wheel drive car, a major departure from the rear-wheel drive vehicles GM was known for. The X11 trim was Chevrolet's attempt to position the Citation as a sporty alternative in the compact car market. Equipped with performance upgrades like a stiffer suspension, quicker steering, and a higher output V6 engine, the X11 was marketed as an American compact with muscle car DNA. However, while the concept seemed promising, the execution fell far short. One of the most damning aspects of the Citation X11, and the X-body platform in general, was its dismal reliability. GM's rush to bring the Citation to market led to numerous quality control issues. The Citation was plagued by defective braking systems. Complaints about uneven braking and rear wheels locking up prematurely were common, leading to a lack of driver confidence. The manual and automatic transmissions suffered from frequent failures, including difficulty shifting and slipping gears. Faulty wiring and malfunctioning electrical components added to the car's already tarnished reputation. Even the upgraded 2.8-liter V6 engine in the X11 trim wasn't immune to problems, with reports of stalling, oil leaks, and overheating. The 1981 Citation X11 Coupe was a poster child for poor build quality. The car's body panels were prone to rust, especially in regions with harsh winters. The problem was exacerbated by insufficient rust-proofing during manufacturing. Inside, the X11's cabin felt low-rent, with cheap plastics and poorly assembled interior components that rattled and degraded quickly. Some buyers reported that their cars developed creaks and structural sagging after only a few years of use, raising serious concerns about durability. Although the X11 trim aimed to deliver sporty handling and power, it ultimately fell short. The X11's 2.8-liter V6 engine, producing 135 horsepower, was a step up from the base engine but still underwhelming for a car marketed as sporty. It struggled to deliver satisfying acceleration, especially when paired with the sluggish 3-speed automatic transmission. Despite enhancements like a sport-tuned suspension and wider tires, the X11 suffered from understeer, a common issue in front-wheel drive cars of the era. The steering lacked precision and body roll was excessive during cornering, making the car feel neither sporty nor stable. At nearly 2,600 pounds, the X11 was heavier than many of its compact competitors, which further dulled its performance. The Citation X11 Coupe's design wasn't just uninspiring, it actively worked against its supposed sporty intentions. The X11's boxy, utilitarian design lacked the flair and sleekness expected of a sporty coupe. Its hatchback shape made it practical but hardly desirable in terms of aesthetics. Cheap aero details. Chevrolet tried to add sporty touches like decals, unique badging, and a rear spoiler, but these felt like superficial gimmicks rather than meaningful design improvements. The 1981 Chevrolet Citation X11 Coupe became emblematic of General Motors' struggles in the 1980s. The car's flaws were so widespread that it became the subject of a National Highway Traffic Safety Administration investigation. The X-body platform's reputation was so badly damaged that GM phased out the Citation entirely by 1985. The X11 specifically failed to attract enthusiasts or loyalists, as its performance credentials were overshadowed by its numerous mechanical and structural shortcomings. Instead of proving that GM could build a world-class compact car, the Citation X11 highlighted the company's inability to adapt to changing market demands. The 1981 Chevrolet Citation X11 Coupe is a cautionary tale of missed potential and corporate mismanagement. By rushing to deliver a sporty compact without addressing fundamental quality and performance issues, GM not only failed to deliver a compelling car, but also inflicted long-lasting damage on its own reputation. The Citation X11 reminds us of the importance of innovation, reliability, and authenticity in building a car that truly resonates with buyers. Number 9. 1984. Chrysler Laser XE Coupe, a vehicle that aimed to be a bold entry into the sporty hatchback market of the 1980s, but ultimately fell short on multiple fronts. The Laser XE serves as a prime example of how poor execution can undermine ambitious goals, leaving buyers disappointed and damaging a brand's reputation. By the early 1980s, Chrysler was recovering from financial turmoil and looking to reposition itself in the marketplace. The Laser XE was introduced in 1984 as a part of Chrysler's K-Car platform expansion. Marketed as the performance counterpart to its twin, the Dodge Daytona, the Laser XE was envisioned as a stylish and technologically advanced coupe designed to compete with rivals like the Ford Mustang, Chevrolet Camaro, and even the Pontiac Fiero. Chrysler touted the Laser XE's sleek design, turbocharged performance, and advanced features as its main selling points. Unfortunately, the reality of the car failed to meet these lofty promises. One of the Laser XE's most glaring weaknesses was its poor craftsmanship. In an era when Chrysler was focused on cutting costs, quality control took a back seat. The cabin was riddled with cheap plastics and poorly assembled components that rattled and deteriorated quickly. Seats were thinly padded and uncomfortable, with upholstery prone to wear and tear. Panels often didn't align properly, and paint quality was inconsistent. This gave the Laser XE a budget appearance that didn't align with its sporty aspirations. Buyers soon realized that the car looked better in ads than in their driveways. The Laser XE's available 2.2-liter turbocharged inline-4 engine was marketed as a high-performance powertrain, producing up to 142 horsepower, respectable for its class. However, the engine was plagued by reliability issues. Turbochargers frequently failed due to poor cooling design and substandard materials. Many owners experienced performance degradation and costly repairs. Overheating problems. The engine often ran hot, leading to gasket failures and oil leaks. Turbo lag and uneven throttle response made the Laser XE unpredictable to drive, further undermining its sporty image. While turbocharged engines were gaining popularity in the 1980s, Chrysler's execution left much to be desired, making the Laser XE seem more experimental than refined. Despite its sporty intentions, the Laser XE's handling and ride quality failed to impress. The front-wheel drive setup resulted in significant understeer, and the suspension, though tuned for comfort, couldn't handle aggressive cornering. Floaty ride. Instead of feeling sharp and sporty, the Laser XE felt disconnected from the road, with vague steering and excessive body roll. The brakes lacked bite and often faded under repeated use, further diminishing confidence in the car's performance. In a segment where driving enjoyment was paramount, the Laser XE felt like an also-ran. While the Laser XE featured a sleek, wedge-shaped design, it lacked the flair to stand out in a crowded market. Its aerodynamic shape was overshadowed by more striking competitors like the Pontiac Fiero and Ford Mustang. The elongated nose and stubby rear gave the car a slightly awkward look, and the use of excessive black plastic trim cheapened its appearance. Chrysler attempted to add high-tech touches, such as digital instrumentation and a voice alert system, but these gimmicks only highlighted the car's dated design rather than elevating it. At launch, the Laser XE was priced competitively, but its questionable reliability and cheap construction made it poor value for money compared to its rivals. Buyers expected a car that delivered speed, style, and sophistication, but the Laser XE felt like a cost-cutting exercise dressed in sporty clothing. The Laser XE's failure was indicative of Chrysler's broader struggles during the 1980s. It showcased the company's tendency to overpromise and underdeliver, leading to widespread skepticism among consumers. While the Laser XE was discontinued in 1986, its reputation as a mediocre coupe lingered, serving as a cautionary tale for manufacturers looking to combine performance and affordability without sufficient attention to quality. The 1984 Chrysler Laser XE Coupe was a bold attempt to enter the sporty hatchback market, but ultimately fell flat due to poor build quality, unreliable turbocharged engines, and uninspiring performance. While it's easy to appreciate Chrysler's ambition, the Laser XE serves as a reminder that execution is everything. A car's reputation lives or dies not by what it promises, but by what it delivers. Number 8, 1987, Pontiac Fiero Coupe, a car that had all the ingredients to revolutionize the American sports car market, but instead became a cautionary tale of how mismanagement and cost-cutting can derail potential. The Pontiac Fiero debuted in 1984 as a bold concept, a mid-engine, two-seater sports car, something rare for an American automaker. It was intended to capture the imagination of enthusiasts while offering fuel economy that appealed to a broader audience. By 1987, some improvements had been made, but the base Fiero still suffered from the lingering flaws that plagued earlier models. The Fiero's promise of a sporty, futuristic car failed to materialize for many buyers, leaving the base trim as a disappointment compared to its more powerful GT variant or rivals from Japan and Europe. At the heart of the base trim's problems was its 2.5-liter Iron Duke four-cylinder engine, which produced a modest 92 horsepower. While this might have been adequate for a small economy car, it was a poor fit for a mid-engine sports car. With a 0 to 60 time of over 10 seconds, the base Fiero Coupe was sluggish, failing to live up to its sporty image. The Iron Duke was known for its agricultural sound and rough operation, further detracting from the driving experience. For a car that looked sleek and promised excitement, the lackluster engine was a letdown that alienated enthusiasts. The Fiero's mid-engine layout was innovative, but poorly executed in the base model, leading to overheating problems. Early Fiero models were infamous for poor heat management. While some improvements were made by 1987, lingering issues caused engines to overheat, often leading to catastrophic failures. Earlier Fieros had a troubling reputation for engine fires, partly due to oil leaks in the engine bay's compact, poorly ventilated design. Though resolved by 1987, this reputation continued to haunt the model. Reliability problems turned what could have been a fun and practical car into a source of frustration for many owners. The Fiero's cabin design failed to deliver on the sporty image promised by its exterior. The dashboard and door panels were made of brittle plastic that felt cheap and often warped or cracked over time. Thinly padded and lacking proper support, the seats were not suited for long drives or spirited driving. While some higher trims had more luxurious options, the base Fiero was stripped down, making it feel more like an economy car than a sporty coupe. The stark contrast between the futuristic exterior and the uninspired interior created a sense of disappointment upon stepping inside. Despite its mid-engine layout, the base Fiero Coupe didn't provide the thrilling handling that buyers expected. The lack of power steering made low-speed maneuvers a chore, and while enthusiasts might appreciate the directness, it didn't make up for the car's other shortcomings. Early Fieros, including the 1987 base model, relied heavily on suspension components borrowed from GM's economy cars. This compromised its balance and agility, particularly when compared to rivals like the Mazda RX-7 or Toyota MR2. Though the Fiero had the bones of a sports car, its base trim felt more like an ordinary commuter in disguise. The 1980s saw a rise in affordable, well-executed sporty cars, and the Fiero was simply outclassed. The Toyota MR2 and Mazda RX-7 offered better performance, reliability, and driving enjoyment for a similar price. Even within GM, models like the Chevrolet Camaro or Pontiac Firebird offered more traditional muscle for buyers who wanted performance. The Fiero was meant to stand out as a unique American take on the mid-engine formula, but its flaws left it overshadowed in a crowded market. The Fiero Coupe, particularly the base trim, was a car that could have been revolutionary. Its innovative mid-engine layout, lightweight fiberglass body panels, and sleek design gave it a strong foundation. However, GM's insistence on cost-cutting and its failure to prioritize performance and quality derailed the project. Had GM equipped the base Fiero with a more powerful engine, improved the cooling system, and invested in a higher quality interior, the car could have been a genuine competitor in the affordable sports car segment. The 1987 Pontiac Fiero Coupe was a car that promised much but delivered little in its base trim. While it looked futuristic and offered a unique layout, its lackluster performance, reliability problems, and cheap interiors left it falling short of the sports car experience buyers expected. In the end, the Fiero is remembered more as a missed opportunity than as a successful innovation. Number 7, 1982. AMC Eagle SX/4 Coupe, a car that dared to combine innovation with practicality, but ultimately fell short of becoming a market success. It's a tale of bold ambition undermined by outdated execution. In the early 1980s, AMC was struggling to stay relevant against larger automakers like General Motors and Ford. As part of their strategy, they introduced the Eagle line, pioneering the concept of an all-wheel drive passenger car. While the Eagle SX/4 Coupe was one of the first AWD coupes of its kind, it also showcased AMC's limitations as a small, cash-strapped company. The SX/4 was aimed at adventurous buyers who wanted the rugged capability of a 4x4 without sacrificing the convenience of a compact car. While the concept was sound, the execution left much to be desired. The car retained the blocky lines of the late 1970s, at a time when sleeker, more aerodynamic designs were gaining popularity. Compared to its contemporaries, such as the sporty Toyota Celica or even AMC's own Spirit Coupe, the SX4 felt clunky and dated. Its plastic cladding and simple grille design failed to give it the rugged yet stylish appearance AMC likely intended. Though innovative underneath, the SX4's exterior didn't signal the forward-thinking technology it offered, making it hard to attract buyers purely on aesthetics. The cabin was filled with hard plastics and basic fabrics that felt dated even for the early 1980s. The AWD system and its associated components generated significant road noise, which, combined with the poorly insulated cabin, made for a loud and unpleasant driving experience. The interior space felt tight, and the seating position didn't accommodate taller drivers comfortably. The SX4's cabin felt more utilitarian than refined, which was disappointing for buyers looking for a balance between practicality and modern comfort. While the Eagle SX4's AWD was innovative, it came at a cost. The car was powered by AMC's 4.2-liter inline-six, an old design that prioritized durability over efficiency. Even with its modest 110 horsepower, it delivered only around 15 to 20 miles per gallon, which was poor for a compact car during an era of rising fuel prices. The all-wheel drive hardware added significant weight, further reducing efficiency. This combination made the SX/4 feel clunky and inefficient, which ran counter to the expectations for a compact coupe. Though the SX/4 was designed for rugged utility, its performance on the road left much to be desired. Despite the large engine, the car's weight and modest power output resulted in unimpressive acceleration, making it feel slow compared to other compacts. The high ride height and heavy AWD system compromised the SX4's on-road handling, leading to excessive body roll and uninspired cornering dynamics. While capable on rugged terrain, most buyers in the coupe segment were looking for a car that excelled in everyday driving, which the SX/4 struggled to deliver. The SX/4's compromises alienated drivers who wanted either a sporty coupe or a true off-roader. The AMC Eagle SX/4 Coupe occupied a niche that many buyers didn't know they wanted, or didn't want at all. Was it a compact commuter, a sporty coupe, or a rugged off-roader? The SX/4's identity crisis made it difficult to market effectively. Buyers interested in compacts could opt for more efficient and stylish cars like the Toyota Corolla or Honda Accord, while those seeking ruggedness had options, like the Jeep CJ. AMC's innovative AWD system was ahead of its time, but it needed a better execution and a clearer target audience to succeed. The AMC Eagle SX4 Coupe deserves credit for its forward-thinking approach. In hindsight, its combination of AWD and compact size foreshadowed the crossover boom that would dominate decades later. However, AMC's financial struggles and reliance on outdated components hindered its ability to fully capitalize on this innovation. Had AMC invested in modernizing the SX/4's engine, refining its styling, and improving cabin quality, the car could have become a groundbreaking success instead of a quirky footnote in automotive history. While the SX/4's AWD system was a technical achievement, it needed a better overall package to succeed. Bold engineering must be paired with attractive design to capture buyers' attention. AMC tried to create a niche, but the SX4 didn't address the priorities of coupe buyers in the early 1980s. The 1982 AMC Eagle SX4 Coupe was a fascinating misstep. While its AWD system was genuinely innovative, the car's outdated styling, unrefined interior, and inefficient performance made it a hard sell. Today, it's remembered more for its ambition than its success, serving as a reminder that even bold ideas must be executed with care to leave a lasting impact. Number 6, 1981. Dodge Mirada Coupe, a car intended to represent Dodge's entry into the personal luxury coupe segment during a challenging time for the American auto industry. Unfortunately, the Mirada is an example of what happens when aspirations don't align with execution. The late 1970s and early 1980s were a turbulent time for American automakers. Stricter emissions regulations, increasing competition from imports, and a shift toward more fuel-efficient vehicles disrupted the traditional formula for success. The personal luxury coupe segment, once a symbol of prestige and power, was shrinking as buyers sought smaller, more practical cars. Against this backdrop, Dodge introduced the Mirada in 1980 as a luxury coupe to rival models like the Chevrolet Monte Carlo, Ford Thunderbird, and Chrysler Cordoba. Despite its ambitions, the Mirada failed to make an impact and was quietly discontinued after just a few years. The Mirada's styling didn't resonate with buyers in the evolving automotive landscape. While Dodge attempted to modernize the Mirada with sharp, angular lines, the car still appeared rooted in the styling trends of the mid-1970s. By 1981, this aesthetic was already passé. The Mirada's long hood and stubby rear end created an unbalanced look, making it appear more bloated than sleek. Faux luxury details like the opera windows and vinyl roof options felt forced and outdated rather than elegant. In a market increasingly captivated by sleek imports like the BMW 3 Series or the innovative Mazda RX-7, the Mirada came across as an old idea repackaged for the wrong era. The Mirada's construction left much to be desired, even by the standards of the struggling domestic industry. The interior was filled with low-grade plastics, rattly panels, and flimsy trim pieces that gave the car a budget feel instead of the intended luxury experience. Reports of uneven gaps between body panels and poorly aligned doors further tarnished its image. Seats, dashboards, and other interior elements showed signs of wear far too quickly, contributing to the perception of poor value. Buyers in the luxury coupe market expected refinement and quality, two things the Mirada struggled to deliver. The Mirada was saddled with powertrains that failed to meet expectations for the segment. The standard 225 cubic inch slant-six engine, while reliable, was underpowered and unexciting, producing just 90 horsepower, pathetic for a car marketed as a personal luxury vehicle. The optional 318 and 360 cubic inch V8s offered slightly more power, but emissions regulations choked performance, leaving them sluggish and uninspiring. The mandatory 3-speed automatic transmission further dulled acceleration and driver engagement. In an era where even American cars were starting to embrace a balance of performance and efficiency, the Mirada lagged behind, making it feel heavy and lethargic. The Mirada struggled to carve out its niche in a crowded and evolving market. It lacked the performance or handling to appeal to younger buyers seeking a sporty ride. Its subpar build quality and uninspired interior design left luxury buyers unimpressed. The Mirada was also upstaged by its corporate cousin, the Chrysler Cordoba, which offered similar features with better brand recognition and marketing. This identity crisis left the Mirada stranded, unable to capture the attention of any particular buyer demographic. The 1981 Dodge Mirada Coupe was a well-intentioned but poorly executed attempt to capture the personal luxury coupe market. Its dated design, low-quality construction, and lackluster performance doomed it to obscurity, making it a mere footnote in Dodge's history. While the Mirada had potential, it serves as a reminder that success in the automotive industry requires more than just ambition. It requires a product that meets or exceeds the expectations of its buyers. Number 5. 1989 Plymouth Sundance Coupe, a budget-friendly compact car from Chrysler's Plymouth division. While it aimed to provide affordable and practical transportation, the Sundance Coupe fell short in many key areas, making it a largely forgettable option in the late 1980s automotive landscape. The Plymouth Sundance debuted in 1987 as part of Chrysler's lineup of compact cars, sharing its underpinnings with the Dodge Shadow. Designed to compete with imports like the Toyota Corolla and Honda Civic, as well as domestic rivals like the Chevrolet Cavalier, the Sundance was meant to attract budget-conscious buyers with its low starting price and versatile configurations, including a two-door coupe. Despite some initial success in sales, the 1989 Sundance Coupe exemplifies why budget cars sometimes fail to resonate with their audience. With bland styling, uninspiring performance, and a lack of refinement, the Sundance didn't offer enough value to stand out in an already competitive market. The Sundance Coupe came with a range of engines, but none of them provided the kind of performance buyers wanted. The standard 2.2-liter inline-4 engine produced just 93 horsepower, which was barely adequate for a car that tipped the scales at over 2,500 pounds. Acceleration was sluggish, and highway merging often felt like a challenge. While a 2.5-liter turbocharged engine was available, it added cost and complexity without truly transforming the car into a sporty or exciting ride. Both the 3-speed automatic and the 5-speed manual lacked refinement, with the automatic sapping what little power the engines provided. In an era when compact cars were starting to embrace better driving dynamics and fuel efficiency, the Sundance's uninspired powertrains and lackluster handling made it feel stuck in the past. One of the Sundance Coupe's biggest shortcomings was its uninspired design. The car's blocky shape lacked the aerodynamic curves that competitors like the Honda CRX or Volkswagen Golf were beginning to embrace. Features like the generic grille, rectangular headlights, and uninspired taillights gave the car a generic appearance that did little to catch the eye of potential buyers. With no distinguishing features or cohesive design language, the Sundance Coupe didn't stand out even within Chrysler's own lineup. For buyers seeking a stylish compact car, the Sundance failed to deliver any sense of excitement or modernity. While budget compacts often sacrifice luxury, the Sundance Coupe took austerity to an uncomfortable level. The interior was dominated by cheap materials that felt harsh to the touch and were prone to rattling after minimal use. The seats offered little support, making longer drives an exercise in endurance rather than comfort. Even in higher trims, the Sundance lacked amenities that were becoming standard in other compacts, such as advanced stereo systems, better upholstery, or modern dashboard layouts. Wind and engine noise permeated the cabin, giving it a crude, unfinished feel compared to quieter competitors. In an era where compact cars were evolving to provide greater comfort and sophistication, the Sundance Coupe felt like a relic of older, cost-cutting strategies. Chrysler's reputation for quality control issues in the 1980s was reflected in the Sundance. The base 2.2-liter engine was notorious for oil leaks, overheating, and head gasket failures, leading to costly repairs for owners. The 3-speed automatic was prone to early failure, particularly under the strain of the optional turbo engine. Like many American cars of the time, the Sundance struggled with rust, particularly in northern climates where road salt exacerbated the problem. For buyers seeking a dependable compact car, the Sundance's reliability concerns were a deal-breaker. The Sundance Coupe was launched into one of the most competitive segments of the late 1980s, and it simply couldn't keep up with its rivals. Cars like the Toyota Corolla and Honda Civic offered superior reliability, better fuel economy, and more refined interiors, often at similar price points. Even the Chevrolet Cavalier, while not perfect, provided a stronger sense of identity and better engine options than the Sundance. With so many better options on the market, the Sundance struggled to attract buyers, especially in the increasingly demanding compact car segment. The 1989 Plymouth Sundance Coupe represents an era when Chrysler struggled to compete in the compact car market. While it had the potential to provide affordable and practical transportation, its weak performance, uninspired design, and poor build quality left it overshadowed by better options from both domestic and import brands. Ultimately, the Sundance Coupe serves as a cautionary tale about the importance of balancing affordability with desirability. Number 4, 1980 Chevrolet Monza Coupe, a car that was supposed to represent Chevrolet's foray into the sporty compact market, but instead became a glaring example of missed potential and outdated execution. Let's dissect how the Monza, once introduced with promise in 1975, devolved into an irrelevant and underwhelming vehicle by the turn of the decade. The Chevrolet Monza debuted in 1975 as a sleek compact coupe designed to tap into the demand for affordable, sporty cars during the energy crisis. Based on GM's H-body platform, it was meant to compete with cars like the Ford Mustang II and serve as a stylish alternative to imports. Early models were praised for their sharp design and sporty intentions, but cracks in the foundation became increasingly apparent as the years went on. By 1980, the Monza was still on sale, but had become a shadow of its former self. Aging design, poorly executed updates, and a slew of engineering issues rendered it outdated and uncompetitive. The Monza's once sleek look, inspired by European sports cars, had grown stale by 1980. The angular lines and dated grille no longer resonated with buyers who were beginning to embrace more modern and aerodynamic designs seen in imports like the Datsun 280ZX or Toyota Celica. Despite being marketed as a compact, the Monza's cramped interior made it uncomfortable for both drivers and passengers. The rear seats were nearly unusable for adults, and the limited cargo space undermined its practicality. The Monza failed to adapt its design to changing tastes, leaving it looking old-fashioned and impractical compared to its competitors. By 1980, strict emissions regulations had severely limited the Monza's performance. Even the optional V8 engines, which should have delivered excitement, were detuned to produce unimpressive power outputs, with the top 5.0-liter V8 generating only 125 horsepower. The base 2.5-liter inline-4 was woefully underpowered, producing just 85 horsepower, which resulted in sluggish acceleration and uninspiring driving dynamics. The engines not only lacked power, but were also prone to harshness and vibration, further diminishing the Monza's appeal as a sporty car. In an era where small cars were expected to deliver a balance of efficiency and performance, the Monza fell far short on both counts. The Monza was plagued by mechanical problems, including frequent transmission failures, engine overheating, and issues with the cooling system. These faults eroded buyer confidence and added to the car's reputation as an unreliable choice. Like many GM vehicles of the time, the Monza suffered from premature rust, particularly in areas like the wheel arches and undercarriage. This flaw significantly reduced the car's lifespan in northern climates. The cabin featured cheap plastics and low-quality upholstery, which quickly showed signs of wear. Squeaks, rattles, and peeling trim were common complaints among owners. The Monza's poor build quality stood out even in a period when American automakers were often criticized for cost-cutting measures. By 1980, Japanese automakers like Toyota, Honda, and Datsun had established a strong foothold in the American market, offering compact cars with superior reliability, modern designs, and better fuel economy. Cars like the Toyota Corolla SR5 and Datsun 210 made the Monza look outdated and inefficient by comparison. Even within GM's lineup, the Monza faced competition from newer, more appealing models like the Chevrolet Citation, which was based on the newer X-body platform. Buyers in the 1980s were beginning to prioritize practicality, fuel efficiency, and build quality over flashy designs, further sidelining the Monza. The Monza failed to evolve with market demands, making it irrelevant in an increasingly competitive compact car segment. The Monza Coupe offers valuable lessons about the dangers of resting on early success without making meaningful updates. Automotive design and engineering must keep pace with changing buyer expectations and industry trends. While the Monza initially prioritized style, its lack of practicality and comfort alienated many potential buyers. Poor build quality and frequent mechanical issues can tarnish a car's reputation and lead to declining sales. The Monza's inability to compete with efficient and reliable imports underscores the importance of adapting to. The 1980 Chevrolet Monza Coupe serves as a reminder that innovation and quality cannot be neglected in the automotive industry. Once a promising entry in the sporty compact segment, the Monza's outdated design, poor performance, and reliability issues left it overshadowed by better options from both imports and domestic competitors. In the end, the Monza didn't just fade into obscurity, it became a cautionary tale about the importance of consistent improvement in market awareness. Number 3, 1985 Oldsmobile Firenza Coupe, a car that exemplifies GM's struggle to balance affordability and quality during the mid-1980s. Marketed as a more premium alternative within GM's J-body platform, the Firenza instead became a forgettable entry with weak performance, uninspired styling, and little to set it apart from its competitors, or even its GM siblings. Let's examine how the Firenza Coupe fell short of its aspirations and why it failed to resonate with buyers. The Firenza Coupe was based on GM's J-body platform, which was developed as a global compact car architecture to compete with rising imports like the Toyota Corolla and Honda Civic. Other J-body vehicles included the Chevrolet Cavalier, Pontiac Sunbird, and the Buick Skyhawk. Each model was intended to cater to specific market niches, with Oldsmobile positioning the Firenza as a more upscale, sporty alternative. However, the J-body cars often shared too many components, from engines to interiors, resulting in a lack of differentiation between brands. This lack of individuality became a major downfall for the Firenza Coupe. The base engine was a 2.0-liter inline-4 that produced a paltry 86 horsepower. Even the available 2.8-liter V6 with 130 horsepower failed to deliver the kind of performance expected from a sporty coupe. Both engines were prone to harshness and vibration, which detracted from the driving experience. Combined with a sluggish automatic transmission, the Firenza offered little excitement behind the wheel. While fuel efficiency was a selling point, it came at the cost of any semblance of driving enjoyment. Buyers looking for a spirited compact coupe were left disappointed. The Firenza's performance was more in line with basic transportation than the sporty image Oldsmobile tried to project. The Firenza's styling was indistinct and uninspired, blending into the sea of other 1980s compact cars. Its boxy profile, plain grille, and lack of standout design elements made it forgettable. The Firenza was nearly identical to its J-body siblings, with only minor cosmetic differences like badging and trim levels. Buyers were hard-pressed to justify paying extra for what amounted to a rebadged Cavalier or Sunbird. Rather than exuding sophistication or sportiness, the Firenza came off as a cookie-cutter design with no personality. Despite its premium aspirations, the Firenza's interior was dominated by cheap plastics, thin upholstery, and poorly fitted trim. It felt more like an economy car than a sporty or upscale coupe. Even in higher trims, the Firenza offered few options that justified its positioning as a more premium J-body. Features like air conditioning and power windows were often extra-cost options, further undermining its value proposition. Controls were clunky, and the seating position was awkward, making long drives uncomfortable. The Firenza's cabin failed to deliver on Oldsmobile's promise of affordable luxury, alienating buyers who expected more from the brand. Japanese rivals like the Honda Accord and Toyota Corolla SR5 offered superior build quality, better reliability, and more engaging driving dynamics. Buyers flocked to these options, leaving the Firenza and its J-body siblings struggling for relevance. GM's decision to release multiple J-body models meant that the Firenza faced competition from nearly identical cars within its own family. The Chevrolet Cavalier, in particular, was more popular due to its lower price and better marketing. With no clear identity or advantage, the Firenza was squeezed out by both imports and its GM counterparts. The Firenza Coupe lasted only a few years, as Oldsmobile's compact offerings failed to find a foothold in the market. By the late 1980s, the brand began shifting focus toward larger sedans like the Cutlass Sierra, abandoning the compact segment altogether. The Firenza's lackluster performance and uninspired design were emblematic of the challenges Oldsmobile faced during this era, as it struggled to define its role within GM's crowded lineup. The 1985 Oldsmobile Firenza Coupe serves as a reminder that simply rebadging a mediocre car and calling it premium doesn't fool buyers. With weak engines, bland styling, and a lack of unique features, the Firenza failed to justify its existence in an already crowded compact car market. Ultimately, it became another footnote in Oldsmobile's slow decline, a cautionary tale about the perils of uninspired design and poor differentiation. Number 2, 1987 Chrysler LeBaron Coupe, particularly focusing on the base trim model. While the LeBaron name was historically associated with luxury and refinement, the base version of this coupe fell short of those ideals, offering a lackluster experience marked by inadequate performance and disappointing build quality. Let's explore why the 1987 LeBaron Coupe failed to live up to its prestigious heritage and what lessons can be learned from its shortcomings. The Chrysler LeBaron nameplate has a rich history dating back to the late 1950s. Originally introduced as a luxury model, the LeBaron evolved through the years into a symbol of affordable elegance. By the mid-1980s, Chrysler sought to modernize the LeBaron and appeal to a younger demographic with the introduction of the coupe variant, which was part of the K-car platform. However, the base trim version of the 1987 LeBaron Coupe struggled to capture the essence of its name, leading to its reputation as a forgettable offering in the crowded automotive market. The base trim of the LeBaron Coupe was stripped of many luxury features that defined higher trims. Buyers expected a certain level of refinement, but the base model came with minimal amenities, making it feel more like an economy car than a luxury coupe. With fewer options available, buyers found it challenging to personalize their vehicles or enhance comfort. The absence of features like plush upholstery and advanced audio systems made the base trim feel cheap and uninviting. By neglecting to deliver the luxury expected from the LeBaron name, Chrysler lost the essence of what made this model desirable in the first place. The base model was equipped with a 2.2-liter inline-4 engine that produced a mere 93 horsepower. While this engine was sufficient for basic commuting, it lacked the power and responsiveness that buyers anticipated from a coupe bearing the LeBaron name. The lack of performance-oriented options meant that the driving experience was dull and uninspired. The coupe felt sluggish, particularly in comparison to its competitors that offered more engaging performance. For a coupe, especially one with a legacy of sporty elegance, performance should be a priority, and the base LeBaron simply did not deliver. Reports of poor build quality plagued the LeBaron, especially in the base trim. Many owners experienced issues with fit and finish, with interior components that felt cheap and prone to wear. The LeBaron Coupe was also criticized for reliability problems, ranging from electrical issues to mechanical failures. This undermined confidence among potential buyers and tarnished the model's reputation, making it less appealing in a market increasingly dominated by reliable imports. When buyers invest in a luxury coupe, they expect not only style but also durability, and the LeBaron Coupe fell short on both fronts. The late 1980s was a competitive time for compact and mid-size coupes. The LeBaron faced stiff competition from other American manufacturers, as well as Japanese imports like the Honda Prelude and Toyota Celica, which offered more engaging driving dynamics and better overall quality. With many alternatives available, the base trim of the LeBaron Coupe failed to offer a compelling reason for buyers to choose it over more exciting or higher quality options. In a crowded market, standing out is crucial, and the base LeBaron lacked the elements needed to capture buyer interest. While the Chrysler LeBaron Coupe enjoyed some popularity during its production, the base trim's shortcomings contributed to a decline in the model's reputation. As the automotive landscape shifted in the late 1980s, consumers began to demand more from their vehicles in terms of performance, quality, and luxury. Unfortunately, the 1987 base LeBaron Coupe fell victim to these evolving expectations, ultimately leading to a diminished status within the Chrysler lineup. Maintaining the attributes that define a brand, such as luxury and performance, is essential when introducing new models or trims. The base LeBaron lost sight of these values. Prioritizing quality control is crucial for consumer confidence. Cars marketed as luxury vehicles must uphold higher standards to meet buyer expectations. Understand market dynamics. Being aware of competitors and evolving consumer preferences is vital in shaping a vehicle's design and features. The 1987 Chrysler LeBaron Coupe base trim serves as a cautionary tale of how a once-respected nameplate can falter when its offerings fail to align with consumer expectations. With inadequate performance, lack of luxury features, poor build quality, and heightened competition, the base LeBaron Coupe became a symbol of missed opportunities rather than the refined experience buyers sought. Number 1981 Cadillac Seville Coupe Elegante, a vehicle that aimed to redefine luxury but ultimately fell short in several key areas. Known for its controversial bustleback styling, the Seville Coupe was a product of its time, reflecting both the bold design choices of the late 1970s and the shifting expectations of luxury car buyers. Unfortunately, it failed to deliver the refined experience that customers anticipated, leaving it with a tarnished reputation in Cadillac's storied lineup. The Cadillac Seville was introduced in the mid-1970s as a smaller, more European-inspired luxury vehicle aimed at attracting a new generation of buyers. By 1981, the Seville had evolved, but its attempt to capture both American luxury and a more modern aesthetic led to design choices that did not resonate well with consumers. The introduction of the Elegante trim was intended to enhance the model's appeal, but it ultimately contributed to its confusion and shortcomings in the marketplace. The most notable feature of the 1981 Seville was its bustleback rear, which drew significant criticism for its unconventional shape. Many buyers found the design to be awkward and unappealing, creating a disconnect between the car's aesthetic and traditional luxury expectations. While some may have viewed the design as innovative, the majority of luxury buyers felt it detracted from the vehicle's overall elegance. Instead of standing out in a positive way, the styling left potential buyers confused about its luxury credentials. The disconnect between the Seville's design and consumer preferences made it challenging to position effectively in a competitive luxury market. Under the hood, the Seville Coupe was powered by a 5.7-liter V8 engine that produced only moderate horsepower, failing to provide the exhilarating driving experience expected from a luxury coupe. The driving experience was characterized by soft handling and a lack of responsiveness, which further detracted from the appeal of the car. Buyers seeking a thrilling ride were left wanting more from a vehicle that promised luxury. In a market where performance and driving pleasure are critical components of luxury, the Seville Coupe did not meet expectations. Despite being marketed as a luxury coupe, the Seville's interior was cramped, with limited legroom and headroom for both front and rear passengers. This design flaw was particularly disappointing for a vehicle in its price range. The interior lacked the plushness and comfort associated with high-end luxury vehicles. Competing models offered more spacious and luxurious cabins, which further highlighted the Seville's shortcomings. When customers invest in a luxury coupe, they expect a spacious and comfortable environment, which the Seville failed to deliver. The Seville Coupe Elegante was priced as a luxury vehicle, but the features and performance did not justify the cost. Buyers felt they were paying a premium for a car that fell short of delivering a truly luxurious experience. In a competitive marketplace where value is key, the Seville's combination of high price and lackluster offerings led to a perception that it was an unwise investment. This diminished consumer interest and contributed to poor sales figures. The disconnect between price and performance created a barrier that many potential buyers could not overlook. The 1981 Cadillac Seville Coupe Elegante serves as an example of how a once promising luxury brand can falter when it strays too far from consumer expectations. The combination of controversial styling, uninspiring performance, cramped interior space, and a high price point left many buyers dissatisfied and seeking alternatives. As Cadillac moved into the 1980s, it faced challenges in redefining its identity and appealing to a new generation of luxury car buyers. The Seville Coupe's shortcomings reflected the broader struggles the brand faced during this transitional period. The 1981 Cadillac Seville Coupe Elegante exemplifies the challenges of navigating the luxury automobile market during a time of change. While it aimed to be a modern representation of Cadillac's heritage, it ultimately became a cautionary tale of missteps in design, performance, and consumer expectations.